During my ministry, the interaction with Scripture on a regular basis has both filled my life and inspired me, comforted me, challenged me, and pushed me to be much more of an authentic human being than I would have been otherwise. If you push me to select one, I would say Psalm 139. Oh God, you've searched me and you know me. There are so many times of great joy and so many times of great struggle. And the struggle and the joy go together. Obviously, sharing in ministry with my wife, Linda Pickens-Jones, we have been through this all together. And that has been a powerful and wonderful experience. I think what has brought me a lot of joy over the years is seeing people change and grow, and sensing sometimes that my intervention in their lives has empowered them to be something different, something more than they had been otherwise. Having been a pastor, in almost all of my appointments have been cross-cultural appointments. Well, I guess they all have because I'm a Brit, but I began with West Indian and Indian, Pakistani and white in Britain, and then pastored a church in Sierra Leone, and then pastored Japanese and Filipino and various other groups during my ministries in California. So I think my joy is always tempered by the realities. And even though, like after the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles, I sensed real joy in the way that people came together to bring healing and do something different. There was also the terrible pain of what was going on, and the pain of the fact that the church behaved like the federal government and had people showing up and smiling, but we didn't do all that we could have done to engage that. So there's joy in so many interactions, joy in interfaith work that has been so much a part of my life. What I would say to people coming into the ministry is be ready to change, be ready to grow. A reminder that I believe all ministry is cross-cultural, and you're invited into a process of being changed by the people you pastor. You have to be all things to all people, but you can keep your integrity within that by telling the truth. Tell the truth even when it's painful. Follow your intuition. Be authentic. The church appears to be declining at the moment, and that's a social transformation that we're all subject to. But that means that God is at work, and God is, to quote Isaiah, "Behold, I'm doing a new thing." There's going to be a way in this desert, and God is going to lead us through. And it's going to be very different. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the new church looks like.
There has been many verses that have sustained me, and it's hard to pick one. But one that comes to mind is from actually a couple of verses from Matthew 11:28 through 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take your yoke upon you. Learn from me. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And so these verses, which for me are inseparable, are linked to an invitation or a set of instructions, if you will, that provide me with resources when the going got tough, when the burden seemed really heavy, when there was a high stress. And you didn't know what to do, you didn't know which way to go. So this was a verse that was a tremendous resource for me. My family brings me great joy, and without them, I don't know where I would be. But beyond that in ministry, I would say that fellowship with members in whatever context I find myself has been a tremendous sense of joy for me. In fellowship, you share moments of joy and laughter and sadness and anxiety and pain and stress. And of course, there are always challenges, but as a popular song phrases it, the good times that we had outweigh the bad. So I'm just grateful for those opportunities to have fellowship with people from all different backgrounds, and they're like family to me. I think it's important to be intentional about showing up. I think this is something that we do naturally as pastors, but it's worth repeating. And, you know, we show up in all kinds of ways as pastors. We show up in worship, at weddings, and funerals, and fellowship, and moments of pastoral care, emergencies, informal conversations, moments of grief and despair. I think it's important to know that we show up in a lot of different ways. We show up in person, you know, we're there in body and face to face. We're also there in prayer, because a lot of times we don't know what we need for that moment. So we come asking for guidance and prayer. And I've always found it, you know, important just to be open to the Spirit, because and it's during those times that the Spirit often gives me the word that I need to say or how to show up. And I think that it's also important to receive every encounter as a blessing in which we can be gracious, you know, in terms of being kind and warm and courteous. A time that we can express gratitude, you know, showing appreciation and being thankful, and remembering that relationships in whatever variety that they come are gifts, and can offer amazing opportunity to receive and to experience grace.